Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Friday with
Friday with friends.
Ooh,
Not our best.
it's not our best, but guys, we are trying because we don't want you to miss us. We do not want you to miss us. We are obviously coming to you virtually, practicing all social distancing and all of that good stuff. But really, this is a very important time that we want to keep you guys updated on what's going on. So if you guys are not familiar with Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market so that we can answer any questions that we're hearing so that we can be your realtor of choice if you do have any real estate needs. So that's what we're talking about today.
Perfect. I love it. And I know that's really, we're talking about what's going on in the market today, because things are constantly changing. Literally day after day, we're getting new information. Our governing bodies are changing things to make sure that we're keeping ourselves, our clients, and the whole community safe. So what we're naming this Friday with Friends is really navigating the current market as we're in right now. And we're just going to continue to keep everybody up to date since things are just changing all the time.
Yes. And if you have any questions, so we posted earlier on our social media for you guys to reach out to us with questions. And so we've got a couple questions from there. We have a couple questions just from our clients that are asking us questions. So we've compiled them all for you so that we're going to go through them and just give you guys all of the answers that to these questions so that you're feeling, well informed in whether you have any real estate needs or someone you know does too. So I guess we'll just get right into it.
Perfect. Let's get into it.
I'll ask you the first question.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's hear it.
Should I buy or should I sell right now?
Great question, Mandy. So we are getting this question all the time because there's a lot of, everything is changing and there's a lot of changes happening personally. So someone might have said, my goal was to put my house on the market or my goal was to buy a house in the spring. Well, the spring is here and what should I do? Should I still stay on track for that? And really what the first question is it's very much a personal decision. So what we've been doing with our clients is sitting down with them and saying, what are your goals?
Sitting down with them virtually.
Yes, thank you. I keep forgetting. Sitting down with them virtually, exactly. To go through what are their goals. There are some people who say, I just want to sell my house at some point in the next year. Okay, well, if that's the case, maybe we hold off for a little bit. There's other people that say, I need to sell my house before July or June. Okay, that's a different conversation. The good news is at this point, we have had buyers go under contract and sellers go under contract successfully, all virtually. So it is possible. And that's why it's really just a conversation on what are their goals and how can we make that happen.
And I think what's so interesting, and we'll get into this more later, is how this idea of how is this happening virtually, it's because the entire real estate market is on board. Like we can't just say, okay, all real estate agents, I can get into this house, I can't get into this house. If there's anyone who has their house actively on the market right now that is doing their job, there is a virtual opportunity for you to see the house. And that's what's been so cool. And I've just loved with our real estate community here locally is that everyone's on board to help bring buyers and sellers together, but in a way where the buyers are feeling comfortable. And you need the buyers to feel comfortable because if the buyers don't feel comfortable, the sellers won't list in the first place because there's not enough buyers in the market. And we have to show there are buyers in the market.
So really how virtually is working at this point is a house goes on the market and we're doing our photos, of course, like we always do, but we're also adding this virtual tour element. For all of our clients so far, it's been a pre-recorded virtual tour. There are some agents out there that are doing like an individual Zoom call for each interested party. For us, we found that the pre-recorded videos work really well. And what's cool about the video is, and what's just another piece that's changing is, let's say we were in a normal market, we would do a video and it would be like, check out the granite or like this awesome patio or, oh, don't miss this bathroom, but we would never video the basement. Like, who wants to see the furnace or the electrical box or those kind of ugly things? But we're showing them now because you said we need buyers to feel comfortable and they need to see every square inch of the house because in a normal showing, they would.
Yes, yes, we want to recreate that. So we'll
Yep.
get more into that, but that's the main answer to should I buy or sell now? It completely depends on your situation. So talk
Yep.
to your agent, talk to your real estate agent, and brainstorm around all of the reasons why you're motivated, why you could potentially wait, and then decide what's going to be best for you.
Perfect. I love that.
Okay, second question.
Are open houses happening, Mandy?
So that is the first thing that was completely banned from real estate. Cut is open houses. So essentially an open house is where a group of people go through a house. And this is also happening when there's multiple showings or overlapping showings. There's multiple people in the house. So the very first step was to stop open houses, and that has continued and sustained. So no open houses. We are doing virtual open houses, which is pretty cool. So if you do want a virtual open house, or do you want to see if other properties have virtual open houses, let us know and we can make that connection. But you can do it virtually, no in-person showings. I got an easy one.
Love it.
Okay.
So give me the next one.
I am currently under contract. Can I close on a property? What are the options? So what's happening with our under contract?
Yep. So there
you have your mug?
Obviously. So what's really, what kind of, as we said, this has been up and down. About 2.5 weeks ago, New York State said, you're non-essential, you can't do anything. They've kind of shifted that to say we're kind of semi-essential. I've been joking with our clients. And the reason that they kind of made us be that middle ground is because there are so many people that are involved once you're under contract to get to the closing table. There's the inspector, there's the appraiser, there's the attorneys, there's the surveyors, there's all of these different people that are involved. So a big question was, well, we have clients that are under contract, can they close? And since then, many of those people have been deemed essential and can do their jobs. So bank appraisals I combine the two words, are still happening.
Yeah.
So that's really great. We can still close on loans. For the first time, I think ever in New York State, closings can be done electronically. So yes, you can still close on a house if you are under contract, or if you get under contract virtually, you can close virtually.
So let's get into more of the specifics. So with that, the appraisal. So one of the things that the banks have been doing is, one, the appraiser we're always in communication with the seller. You as the seller are in the driver's seat if you want people to come through your house or not. So never feel like, oh, I'm feeling pressured and people have to come through. Heck no, we want to support you. So what happens is with the appraisals, the appraiser can have a couple options. One, the banks are accepting completely exterior appraisals.
Yeah, drive-by appraisals.
And of course, if it's not appraising or if there's concerns, they can, but majority of the time, they're just doing a drive-by, so they don't even have to go into your home to validate the sales price. If we do want them to go through the property, or you're comfortable with them going through the property, they will show up in booties, gloves, masks, the whole thing. And you as the seller will leave all the doors open, and they will literally walk in, photo,
picture. Yep.
And walk out. So with the appraisers, that's impressive that they're going through all of these just to really make sure that the sellers are comfortable.
Exactly.
And from an inspection standpoint, the inspectors, there was a little while where they were deemed non-essential, and then specific inspectors went to, I don't know, the Empire State people, whatever those are.
Someone important at New York State.
Someone important that gave them the essential status. However, majority of the time, that means that the inspector, ask the inspectors, we have all of our inspectors that we are very clear on what they are comfortable with, where they need to be into the house alone. The seller is not even able to be there. However, sometimes they are allowing the buyer to be there. If they are not, that inspector is going through the house. Okay, let's say that the buyer is not comfortable going into the house. The inspector will go and then will FaceTime them when they're doing the review to walk them through the house to say, hey, this is a concern that I have. This spot looks a little wet in the basement. Let me show it to you. And they're doing it that way so that the buyer is really feeling like they are getting all the services that they need in a virtual way.
Perfect. I love that. And really that's where, if you think about, again, a normal market, An inspection, you might have, remember my inspection? It was like me, you, dad, the inspector, like my dog. No, I'm just kidding. But normally your inspection is when you have several people come through, and that's just to not gather is the priority here. So really it's simply most of the time just the inspector going through the house to get that done. And unfortunately the buyers really aren't able to be there unless, there's a specific, the inspector's okay with it, the seller's okay with it, whatever that might be.
Yeah. And then the last kind of specific, if you're under contract, how it's all shaking out is the final walkthrough. So this is something that we're finding we want the buyers to make sure if they can go through, they can. And even when we were deemed non-essential, the buyers were still able to go through the property because it was almost tied to the attorney side of it as opposed to the real estate side of it. So people were getting creative with it. But the final walkthroughs can be done any of the ways that we've been talking about, where it's the buyer that, or the seller perhaps leaving it unlocked for them, and the buyer can walk through. Now, the very key part to this walkthrough is making sure that you are checking all of the essential, I don't want to say essential, all of the necessary pieces to the home to make sure they're functioning properly. And so what we're doing, and what we're encouraging real estate agents to be doing too, is there's a checklist that we are following. So we're on FaceTime with our buyer who's walking through the house at the final walkthrough saying, great, now we need you to go turn on all of the faucets. All right, let them run. Okay, how's the hot water? Okay, all of those checklists that we're doing from a final walkthrough standpoint, that we're still allowing, we're still giving the clients all the information that they need, but definitely in a virtual way and in a new way.
I love that. When really what's neat is we're, as realtors, we're just doing whatever we can to get creative, but also stay safe, keep our clients safe, and also help them achieve their goals. So as you can see, it's literally every aspect of the real estate transaction we've been maneuvering to make it work.
Exactly.
So that's super cool for sure. Okay, awesome. So next, can I still get qualified? I want to buy a house, Mandy. Can I still get qualified? Can I still get a mortgage, a pre-approval?
Yes, 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 yes. Now, the best thing about this is in real estate, you've seen it, I'm sure, if you've been following this in any way, shape, or form. But we've started to go virtual. We have had people who apply for their mortgage online and who are completely virtual the entire way through.
Entire time. Yep.
So it doesn't change anything. There are some serious, changes with credit score, or with credit scores, and with fundings for some government-backed loans like the FHA and the VA.
Right.
So you can just make sure you're talking to your lender, because there are specific suggestions where they're saying, don't lock your rate in right now. Wait till this. So they're being smart about it, but there's no reason why you are not able to qualify. Or even, let's say you're home, you want to see what I qualify for. Let us know. We can connect you with a lender that we know can help figure that out. So no restrictions there.
Perfect. All right. So that is all still possible. And then I think this next question is probably the one that we get asked the most.
Yes. Abby, can I look at homes in person right now, pretending I'm a buyer?
Kinda. So really what our goal is, because again, it's really dependent on what the buyer feels comfortable with and what the seller feels comfortable with. So there's 18 different avenues that we can go down for this. Really what our goal is to exhaust all virtual options the best that we can. So we're going to look at photos. We're going to do Zoom tours. We're going to do a virtual, already pre-recorded video. We're going to take pictures of the closets and the pantries and everything we can to really exhaust that. And we have had a ton of success with buyers feeling comfortable when all of that is provided.
Yes, yes. And I think the key here is it takes an entire real estate market to be on board with this, where you can't just list a house right now and be like, no in-person showings and it's just the pictures. The majority of our real estate community is stepping up to the plate to be able to provide as many virtual offerings as possible, so that can be the starting point. So here's some of the legality pieces that we've been talking about too. So NYSAR, which is the New York State Association of Realtors, they're the ones that are overseeing this leadership. And what they're saying is, we just want virtual tours. However, how they're interpreting it is that the agent go through the home and FaceTime or Zoom or whatever, Skype. whatever you want to do, they're Zoom calling or video conferencing in with the buyer and walking them around with the house. Now, there are some agents who are not comfortable going into houses, and that is completely fine. We, on our team, we are supporting every agent, every person of whatever decision, because this is showing up differently for everyone. So sometimes agents don't want to go in, and that's fine too. So then we're saying, how can we support this? And we've even had it where we've had sellers who are saying, hey, instead of the agent going through, the seller is just going to be walking them through. And like we said, there's where you set up Zoom calls where it's a listing agent, the buyer, we mute the seller and we mute the buyer and the buyer's agent, and they're just walking on through. So there's so many different ways that we can be doing this. However, the agent is legally allowed to go through if they are comfortable. In the same way, on the total opposite end of the spectrum, is if you are a buyer out there right now, I'm going to just tell you something. We can't tell you what to do and what not to do. Like, we can't be like, nope, John and Sally, you cannot go through that house. Like, if you want to go through that house and the buyer is okay with you going through that house, me as a listing agent, Abby as a buyer's agent, we can't stop you from doing that. And so for a while we were like, we didn't want to misguide our buyers, but the reality is they can go through it. So there are situations where, again, the seller is driving this. The seller is driving. If the seller says we are fine having a buyer walk through the property, Abby, can you get into like the legal stuff in a second when we get through it?
Yep, for sure.
The buyer can walk through the property. If the seller is gone and the seller feels comfortable, they can just open up the door and the buyer can literally walk through the property and walk back out.
Not touch anything.
Don't touch anything. Barely breathe. But that is if the seller's comfortable and if the buyer's
comfortable. Right.
So that's what we just want to share, that it's happening. It is legal. There are people that are comfortable with it. There's people that are not comfortable with it. But if you are out there saying, I want to buy a house right now, but I am not comfortable buying unless I see it in person, I want you to know there are options for you. If you need to buy a house, the seller might not allow it, but they may. So what are some things that you are doing, Abby, on a listing agent side, representing sellers to really just make sure that everyone's up to date with who's going through their property or how we're protected, just additionally being kind of over the top about it, which we think is right to be.
Exactly. So really, first step is seeing what our sellers want to do. We have some that say, I'll put it on the market. It's going to be all virtually. They won't step foot in my house until the final walkthrough. That has happened, and we have sold houses.
If we're lifted by the final walkthrough.
Exactly. We have sold houses that way. The middle ground is, okay, let's put the house on the market. Again, we're going to exhaust all virtual options. And then once an offer gets accepted, then I will allow that one person, instead of 15 showings, one person to walk through the house following the rules that are coming right next. Third is I am open to allowing showings. What we're doing then is following our Keller Williams rules, which there are several, because we want to make sure us as the agents are protected, Keller Williams is protected, the buyer and the seller are both protected as well. So first of all, there is a COVID-19 addendum that needs to be signed, first and foremost. That really just states, what'd you say?
What's in that?
So 1 second, let me just pull it right up and I'll read it to you. So it basically states that you have exhausted all virtual options first and foremost, and that there's different ways to view the house. So it's really just acknowledging and having both the buyer and the seller state and sign, yes, I understand that there is a risk of me going into the house and I've exhausted all options that I feel comfortable with, pretty much. As a listing agent, prior to anyone walking through the house, I need a copy of their pre-approval letter. And then also there's going to be, so we know they're serious. They're not just a looky-loo or anything like that. And then there's also going to be a series of questions that we ask and need a response back to in writing that says they haven't traveled in, a certain amount of time. They don't have a fever. They're not living with anyone that's sick, things like that, just so we've covered our bases and we know that we feel comfortable with that. So I think that covers it, but we're really just making sure that the buyer and the seller are on the same page and everyone's protected.
I love it. And I think, if you are anywhere, if you're putting a pulse into the real estate market. There's a lot of people that have very passionate feelings about it. And what our job is to educate, to support whatever our clients want. But the overarching thing is we're not willing to break the law. Like, we're going to do what mandates are coming down on us to make sure that the community is safe as a whole. And that is our number one priority, is making sure the community is safe. And if there is ways that we can support our clients' needs, but in a way that all parties are comfortable, that's what is most important to us, because we are taking this very seriously. I mean, just look at us. We're, all of us are home, and that's the key to it. And we want to make sure that our buyers or sellers never feel the pressure to go outside of their comfort zone, but we also are being creative to support them to answer any questions and to feel confident in their real estate move.
Right. And so, the overarching, really, with the in-person showings, or even just simply buying or selling a house in this new climate, is that you feel comfortable and you have all the information for you to make a decision. At the end of the day, you, me, the rest of the team, we're not making decisions for anyone. We're really just giving all the information, advising, and then really supporting however we can and making sure that we're doing it right and within the guidelines. Exactly.
Yes. And I love it. And I think too, we don't know how long this is going to last. So, we do have people who say, listen, I want to sell my house within the next few months. Well, we don't know, like, this might be the new market as it is right now, and it might be virtual. And even if mandates lift and we can, there still might be people who don't want them to, there might be sellers that don't want you to come through their home. So the reason we're trying to figure out a way to still have buyers and sellers get connected, and doing so virtually as much as humanly possible, is because we don't know where this is going to go. And we also want to make sure that people are still able to do it in a virtual way, no matter how long this lasts.
How long it lasts. Exactly. And we've sold 9 listings and like 5 buyers in the last few weeks. So it is possible.
14 properties in probably 14, maybe a little more. How many weeks? How long has it been?
It's like we're at like 2.5. We're at 2.5 weeks since we've been shut down.
So 2.5 weeks, and we've been able to pen 14 properties virtually, which is like amazing, and like hats off to the team. Like, everyone is just phenomenal. But the reason we tell you that, of course we're great, but like, no, we're telling you that to know it's possible. Like, to know that like you can do this. We have buyers and sellers, and out of yours that you sold, how many went over asking?
Most of them.
They
were either, I would say maybe 2 were not at or above asking.
Which is crazy in this market, when people are worried that there's not enough buyers, that we actually are having such serious interest that they're going above asking in order to secure the home.
Yeah. We had in our normal pockets that we would get in a normal market with in-person showings, maybe $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over asking. We're still getting that.
It's amazing.
So there's still buyers out there. And that's why we're going to be the first ones to be like, you should wait. You should wait, get through this, and then let's put it on the market. But we're also going to be the ones to say, hey, this is possible. And that's why it's so individual, with each client, what works best for them.
Exactly. So I guess that's a perfect wrap up, is just be in conversation. Keep your mind open. Start to get really clear on what's important to you, what your timeline is, your priorities are, and just make sure you're having that conversation with your real estate agent. We know, obviously, we are here to support you too. If you have any questions, if you don't have a real estate agent, we'd love to support you and have the opportunity to talk to you about those. Like, we have the time. We're literally stuck home, and all the time we normally spend driving around to houses, like, we're not doing. So please not hesitate to reach out to us so that we can help. Abby's doing virtual listing appointments where you literally can walk around the house and she can help there. We have our other agents that are doing the same thing. We can also do virtual buyer appointments too. So if this is a time where it's on your mind, do not hesitate to reach out so that we can support you and get you educated, and so that you can make the best decisions for you.
I love that. And we always say, send us a message on Facebook. Check out our website too. And we actually have a full safety page up there, which I wanted to let everybody know. So if you go to friendonyourside.com and then just add /safety, that will show you all of our virtual options, things like that. So you can definitely check out that too, if you want a little bit more clarity around that side of things.
I love it. Wow. Go team.
Go team. Man, we got a whole page up.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Friday with Friends.
It's hard to do it when we're a little delayed.
I know. Oh, I miss you so. Okay. All right.
Me too.
So Fridays with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, answer any questions you might have. So if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice. So there's a lot going on. Never hesitate to reach out. Again, disclaimer, this is what is going on today in the real estate market.
Yep.
Next week could look totally different. Tomorrow could look totally different. So stay in touch with us and we can make sure that you're staying up to date on all things real estate during this crazy time.
Love it.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.